Okay, look what I got in here. Well, you can probably see from the title already, but look. It's another Honda Cub, but I can explain. I can explain, or I'll try to explain. Cut to me explaining, when I explain it well. Right then, so the history of this bike. Henry. Let's think about it actually, let's go back a bit further. So this is actually Steve's bike, it's not actually my bike. I'm repairing it for Steve. But yeah, basically, let's go through it. So basically me and Steve, we used to work together a long time ago. Back when we were literally fresh out of school pretty much. I think that was both our first jobs, we were there, out of school basically. He's only a couple of years older than me, but yeah. We both got into bikes at the same time. We both passed our CPT around the same time. It was very close. And when we got our big bikes or whatever, he decided to get a second small bike again, just to commute on. And he ended up getting this. A Honda Cub, 1987, I believe. 1987, Honda C90. And he got this in 2010. He got this in 2010. Now I saw it, and here's the important thing. This is the first Honda Cub I ever saw. So I had no idea these bikes existed until I rocked up to his house one day and he said, "Yeah, I've got this," and I was like. Recording now. It's really quick. So we've got this little bike here, Steve's bike. Whoop whoop. You know, how fast is top speed?
About 45.
I haven't tested the top speed on my one yet. Of course, at the time, I had my CBR 600RR, and I went through that sports bike phase. And we all went through that sports bike phase. You know, he had a VFR, he had a Triumph. You know, he's got his big bikes. He's got a big sports bike now at the moment as well, big Kawasaki. And he had a Honda Cub. And 2 years later, or a year later or so, I got my Honda Cub because running around town, this bike's perfect. Anyway, so back onto Henry. So it's just weird that Henry kind of spawned in for me getting Cubs, because if he hadn't got this Cub, I wouldn't have known that these Cubs existed. Eventually I would have probably found out about these Cubs, but I wouldn't. The seed was planted with Henry. For when I was looking for a cheap bike, I started looking at Honda Cubs. So if it wasn't for this bike, maybe I wouldn't be building Cubs today. So this bike dates back. We all have that one bike, I think, that we see, and that's like that one gets you into that particular biking. So the CBR 600RR, I saw that got me into sports bikes. This exact bike right here is the one that's responsible for my addictions. So I'm blaming Steve for my addiction, basically, my strange addiction. Anyway, back on with Henry. Henry was bought in 2010, back when the Cubs were good prices. 200 quid he paid for it with a full tank of petrol. I think it was even delivered to his house, which is pretty damn good. He got it on the road or whatever, and yeah, I think he used it as a daily driver. And sadly, in 2011 though, this bike was nicked and dumped in the lake. So that's why we're going to be checking everything. I'm dread to think what it's going to look like, but we'll see what happens. Dumped in the lake, the engine's missing, so it was recovered and the engine was missing. So they stole Henry, took him for a jolly, dumped the engine. So we don't know where the engine's gone, but the Honda 90 lump engine is just disappeared, and Henry went in the lake, which is a shame. So he was recovered without the engine. Don't know what happened to that, but yeah, it was dumped in the lake, probably to wipe fingerprints and stuff like that. So he was sitting in the lake for about a week or so. He got recovered, and he was sat in the garage, and his intention was to get back up on the road. Unfortunately, life stuff happens. Being a chef as well, being in catering, we were both in catering at the time, but you don't have any time. You have no spare time in that sort of profession. So Henry got forgotten, basically. I mean, he didn't get forgotten. He's got engines, he's got parts, he's got loads of bits. And he did try. He tried to get it up on the road, but it was a bit, you know, with no, like, we were young, and we have no mechanical experience. Like, we didn't even know how to change our oil back then, sort of thing. With no mechanical experience whatsoever. So, very difficult for us to do, or for him to do as well. I wouldn't know where I was doing, what I was looking at or anything back then. So yeah, we've got this bike now, and I'm going to try and do it. Now, interestingly, he did actually get some parts. Now, I don't know. Now these are the pre-bent foot pegs, where you have to bend it to go around the engine, because he's got a Lifan 110 engine, but it's the new style, not the old style. So the standard foot pegs won't fit. You need to get these pre-bent ones, and he's got one with a side stand lug. Now, this came from the C90 forum from Glenn. But Glenn, if you are watching, these are the foot pegs that you sold Steve. Like, if you think about the back in 2010, there was no like Facebook groups and stuff like that. Facebook was a thing, but it wasn't like really used as like nowadays. You can literally take a picture, put it up on Facebook, and someone will make a load of fun of you or something like that. But yeah, still with the Cub forum, there's still like a plethora of information there to use. Anyway, so yeah, that is the Honda the Henry. He's had a very neglected life over the past, well, from 2011 to now, and Steve's had this bike for what? So what's that, 13 years he's had this Cub? Yeah, 13 years he's had this Cub. And it wasn't long after I got my Cub, and then his one got nicked, unfortunately. And then yeah, I know that in 2012 his VFR got nicked as well. So his VFR got nicked in 2012, and then this bike just, you know, you can't spend the time or the money to get this bike on the road when your main or another form of transportation gets knocked out. So yeah, poor Henry. Right, so that's what this video series will be, getting Henry to a point where he's hopefully on the road again. Anyway, that's the history lesson over. Let's get on with some work. Okay, you see that? I explained very well, I hope. So anyway, the list is going to be endless. There's lots of bad things, and every time I look at this, it gets worse. And he said, don't want to cause me any stress, but Steve, you've caused me some right stress. Let's just ignore the engine for now, and let's just look at the frame and make sure the frame is okay. So let's take all this off and reveal how bad the rust is on this boy. But that is really nice, that paintwork is. That was nicer than anything I've ever got. Yeah, oh yeah, and also what I got with this Cub. So this Cub, like I say, it's not mine, it's someone else's. We've got the original OEM exhaust here. Now these are super rare, super expensive. However, the end's broken. But we've got another exhaust here that he's got, so I'm going to use that. I've also got two tyres. Now I've checked the dates on these. These are well over 10 years old, so we're not even going to fit them. At first I was like, well, these are the cheap nasty ones that you get for like 20 quid a set. Not even, I was like, maybe they'd be good just to push the bike. Nope, don't even want to entertain putting them on. They're over 10 years old, so they're probably gone really hard and slippery as anything. So that's not good. I've got a box of spares, I've got two carburetors, I've got one spare tube there, so basically this weekend, strip it down, get a list going and see what I need. Right, let's get cracking. Okay, so you're with me for this, okay? So this is my live reaction. Okay, I'm pulling this off. Okay, quite a few dead spiders in there. This would be like the game over thing. That is really solid. There's a little bit of surface rust and there's a big bit of surface rust there, but I reckon that'll clean up really nicely. That is a really solid tail for something that was in a lake, and considering its age, over 35 years old, what is it, 35, 36 years old, that is really nice. Yeah, the other bit that I have to be worried about is down here, so I'm just going to check that down here, because these can rust from inside out, and that's solid as well. Okay, now I've just got to check inside here. see what down here looks like. All right. Oh, the tap's on the end still. Ah, can't take the tank out with ease. I'm going to replace this wire anyway. Oh, it's all split on one end. How is he doing this? Oh, we're replacing this fuel line anyway. It's a shame because the outside of the tank is really nice, but the inside, you can just hear it. I don't know, I think we're going to try the Coca-Cola method, I think. I will put a shout out to see if anyone's got another tank. It's a really good condition tank on the outside. Shame the tank's bad on the inside, right. That's pretty solid. That's really solid, that is. That's really solid. Now this is good. This is a good cub. We should be able to... Yeah, that's pretty good. Right, so thanks for watching. That's all I've got time for at the moment. So yeah, look forward to more little updates here and there. I'm going to be slowly cracking at this bike. We'll see how we go. We'll see how much money we can save and not spend. Everything's pretty much almost here. I've got no rear axle. I've got loads of things to do probably. So yeah, I'm just going to carry on stripping the bike down, clean everything up, sort out some stuff, and yeah, carry on. But there's a lot of dead spiders, and if anyone is why that old bikes have a lot of dead spiders, apparently old petrol, once it starts to go off, starts to smell like spider pheromone, so it attracts loads of spiders. There is loads of dead spiders here, and I can't deal with it, so I'm going to have to, I don't know, get the Hoover out here in a minute or something, because I can't deal with that. Like, we're going to have to get a pole or something, but I physically can't go any further now, because it's literally just, it's just all spiders. It's just like my C200. If you saw that build, I had to stop. I'm actually sweating a bit because of the amount of spiders that I just found. They're all dead, I think, but I still don't like the look of them. I need some bigger gloves and a flamethrower, and I need to message someone about this tank. Right, anyway, catch you in the next video. If you did enjoy the video, drop it a like. If not, whatever. Catch you next one. Goodbye.